Good morning to everybody. Today the topic of the seminar or the lecture is drug interaction. Drug interaction is very important tool because a doctor should know how many drugs I can give in one syringe and how many drugs a patient can take at a time and what are the drug interactions, what is its impact. It can be beneficial, it can be harmful. So we have to scrutinize the drugs which are very harmful, which are very essential. And this scrutinization is very important for the optimization of the therapeutics while prescriptions. So first of all, I will go toward what is the drug interaction. The drug interaction is it is the modification of the effect of one drug, the object drug, by the prior concomitant administration of another drug. So there should be at least two drugs. One is the object drug and another is the prescription drug. So the prescription drug is which interacts with the object drug and there is an interaction of the object drug and then there is a deleterious effect. It can be good, it can be beneficial, it can be harmful. So this is one of the most, I would say, topics which we have discussed. Now, outcomes of the drug interactions are plenty. I am enumerating here 5. Loss of therapeutic effect. So when we give the two drugs or more than two drugs, it is there is a loss of effect of the drug response, whatever the response may be, and the toxicity. So that another drug, object drug and the prescription drug, there will be toxicity, the object drug. And then unexpected increase in pharmacological activity. Sometimes there is an increase of the pharmacological activity. The drug can have an exaggeration of effects. And then beneficial effect, there is the additive or potentiating intended or antagonism unintended. So beneficial effect we can have additive, we can have synergistic or potentiating, our intention is to synergetize the effect. That means sulfamethoxone and trimethoprim. And antagonism, sometimes we have acetylcholine or adrenaline, they are antagonistic. They are acting on the two different types of receptors. And the chemical or the physical interaction, we have IV incompatibility in fluid or syringe mixture. So we can also have this is a vitro interaction, or we can, the fifth one, which is pharmaceutical interaction, or which is also known as the vitro interaction. So vitro interaction comes under the heading of when we mix the syringe, when we give the drugs outside, it is pharmaceutical activity is lost. So we have to find out now, we have to find out these things in the real perspective. Now the mechanism of the drug interaction, we have pharmacokinetics interaction, we have pharmacodynamics interaction. Pharmacokinetics involves the effect of the drug on another form, the point of view that includes absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion. So the pharmacokinetics interaction, which brings about the change in the absorption or the distribution or the metabolism or the excretion. So these ADME you should remember: absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, where there is a change when the two drugs are more than two drugs interact. And then pharmacodynamics is the pharmacologically active of the interacting drugs. There is a synergism, antagonism, altered cellular transport, effect of the receptor site. So the pharmacodynamic interaction is that at the effector site, at the receptor site, at the antagonist, suppose it synergizes, it potentiates the effect, or it is additive, or antagonism, or it alters the transport mechanism, or it affects at the receptor site. So the dynamics and kinetics, we have to have two concepts separately. Now the pharmacokinetic interaction. Suppose I'm making the, I would say, interaction at the absorption site one, then distribution, then metabolism, then excretion. Now at the absorption site we alter the GIT absorption. It is the altered pH, altered bacterial flora, formation of the drug chelates or complex drug-induced mucosal damage, and altered GIT motility. These are the coming under the GIT absorption. So now, first of all, I am enumerating first the altered pH. The non-ionized form of a drug is more lipid soluble and more readily absorbed from the GIT than the ionized. So that when there is a change in the pH, that suppose we give the antacid, then we take the drug. Suppose we take the, I would say, iron is to be absorbed, empty stomach. But at the same time, if I will give the antacid, it changes the environment of the stomach. It changes the, I would say, pH of the stomach. So the absorption is hindered. So we have to take this, the change of the pH is very important in this scenario. Now we have antacids, they decrease the pH, decreasing the tablet dissolution of ketoconazole. Suppose this is an antifungal drug. when we give the antacid along with the antifungal drug, so the pH will be decreased. So pH will be decreased. So the H2 antagonists decrease this. So we have to see the ketoconazole. Ketoconazole is acidic, and we are changing its acidity in the pH of the stomach by the antacids or the H2 antagonists or PPIs. So the ketoconazole decreases the tablet resolution of the ketoconazole by changing this scenario. So therefore, these drugs must be separated by at least 2 hours in the time of the administration. So the message is that when we give this ketoconazole type of drug, we have to keep the 2 hours apart. Then only we can give the drug. Otherwise, there will be a drug interaction. And then we have the altered intestinal, I will say, bacterial flora. In 10% of the patients receive digoxin, 40% or more of the administered dose is metabolized by the intestinal flora. So when we give the digoxin, it is the intestinal flora which metabolizes the digoxin. And antibiotics kill a large number of the normal flora of the intestine. Suppose when we give the digoxin with the antibiotics, so they will, I would say, kill the large number of the normal flora of the intestine. So the increased digoxin concentration will be increased, and increased its toxicity, and its toxicity will be increased. So there is a small dose. Then you give them, I would say, this dose, I would say, with antibiotics. So antibiotics will hinder the metabolism, so it will increase the toxicity at the same time. So then this we have to keep into mind. Now we have the complexation of the chelation. So the tetracycline interacts with the iron of preparation or milic calcium, this unabsorbed complex. So tetracycline and iron should not be given with the calcium, with the milic. So there is a drug-food interaction. So the milic is a food which is an absorbable complex. It does not allow to absorb the drug, means tetracycline or iron. So mostly the iron and tetracycline should be given empty stomach. But when we give it with the milk, it is a food, it makes the interaction. So there is antacid, aluminum or magnesium hydroxide also decrease the absorption of the ciprofloxacin by 85% with chelation. So we have the ciprofloxacin, the antibiotic. When we take it to the stomach, it should be reached to the target site where it will give the relief to the patient. But when we give it with the antacids, there the ciprofloxacin is decreased, its absorption is decreased by 85%. So this dose is, I will say, we have to take into consideration. Now then, the drug-induced mucosal damage. Suppose we have anti-cancer drug, anti-neoplasia, there is a cyclophosphamide, vincristine, procarbazine. They inhibit the absorption of the several drugs, that is digoxin. So altered motility, metoclopropamide, antiemetics increase the absorption of the cyclosporine due to the increase of the stomach emptying time. They increase the toxicity. So when we have this anti-neoplastic drug, it inhibits the absorption of the digoxin. So that means the digoxin level will be more at the target site. And same is the case with the altered motility. Metoclopramide is antiemetic. It also increases the toxicity of the cyclosporine by so many folds. So we have to take these things into consideration because drug-induced mucosal damage or mortality is, I would say, changed by so many drugs. So we have to take these things into consideration. Now then we have the displacement at distribution side, displaced protein binding. It depends on the affinity of the drug to plasma proteins. The most likely bound drugs is capable to displace others. The free drug is increased by displacement by another drug with high affinity. So you know that there is a albumin or there is a alpha acid glycoproteins. Albumin is bound. It is not a receptor. It is just a binding capacity. And then once we give the two drugs, so we give the warfarin or we give the warfarin and we give the, I would say, sulfonamides. The sulfonamide displaces the on the albumin by this warfarin, and the warfarin concentration increases manifold, and there's a profusely bleeding. So we have to take this into consideration. Like it depends on the affinity of the drugs. This phenytoin is bound to plasma protein 90%, torbutamide is 96%, the warfarin 99%. These drugs we have to take into consideration. Drugs that dislodge these agents are aspirin, sulfonamides, phenylbutazone. So these are the three classes of drugs which can dislodge these drugs. So but phenytoin and warfarin are having the narrow therapeutic index, and which is very dangerous once we give these drugs with these I would say object drugs, and these are the persistent drugs, and there will be a I would say drug interaction. Same is the case with the metabolism. Now metabolism is a big chunk of drug metabolism. It's a separate I would say lecture. But so far as the drug metabolism, the effect of the one drug on the metabolism of the other is well documented. The liver is the major site of the drug metabolism, but other organs can also, that's we have the WBCs, skin, lung, and the GIT where the metabolism takes place. So cytochrome 450 is the chunk of big family, and it consists of the cytochrome 450, 2C6, 2C9, 2C19, and 3A4. 3A4 is the major chunk, with the 40% of the drugs are metabolized by the 3A4. But here I am just taking the cytochrome 450 as a whole family. Therefore, the effect of the drug on the rate of the metabolism of other can involve the following examples. So these examples are very important in the pharmacology. Now we have an enzyme induction. A drug may induce the enzyme that is responsible for the metabolism of another drug or even itself. That is carbamazepine, antiplatelet drug, increases its own metabolism. So this is called the auto-induction, carbamazepine. Phenytoin increases the hepatic metabolism of the theophylline, leading to decrease its level, so reduction its action, and vice versa. So enzyme induction involves the protein synthesis, therefore it needs time up to 3 weeks to reach the maximum level. So there is a once we give the inducer drug, it will take it is effect till 3 weeks. But if we give the inhibitors, it will take the effect immediately. So this is very important to enumerate over here. Now the enzyme inhibition. It is the decrease of the rate of metabolism of a drug by another one. This will lead to the increase of the concentration of the target drug and leading to the increase of its toxicity. Inhibition of the enzyme may be due to the competition of its binding sites. So the onset of the action is short, maybe within 24 hours. So it is very short enzyme inhibition. So when an enzyme inducer, that is carbamazepine, is administered with the inhibitor, that is verapamil, the effect of the inhibitor will be predominant. So this will be carbamazepine, and this verapamil acts as an inhibitor, and carbamazepine as an inducer. So these things we should know, and this needs a separate lecture. Now, erythromycin inhibits the metabolism of the estimazole and terfenadine. These are the H1 blockers, and increase the serum concentration of the antihistamine, leading to the increase the life-threatening cardiotoxicity. So estimazole and terfenadine, they have got the cardiotoxicity. And cardiotoxicity, so we should be very much vigilant when we this drug, erythromycin, which precipitates, and estimazole and terfenadine, these are the target drugs, and they are cardiotoxic. So omeprazole inhibits oxidation metabolism of diazepam. Same is the case with the omeprazole, but this is another, I would say, due to the cytochrome 450 2C9, this diazepam. This inhibits the oxidation metabolism of diazepam. So we can have the long sedation, and we cannot drive, so we have to take this thing into consideration because the diazepam concentration will be more. Now, first pass metabolism, this is very important. Oral administration increases the chance for liver and GIT metabolism of drugs, leading to the loss of the part of the drug, those in decreases its action. This is more clear when such drug is an enzyme inducer or inhibitor. Suppose we take the case of the rifampicin. It lowers the serum concentration of the verapamil level by increasing its first pass. So rifampicin induces the hepatic metabolism of the verapamil. So rifampicin is an inducer, and it induces the metabolism of the verapamil. So we have to take these things into consideration. This is antihypertensive. This is used as so many pharmacodynamic responses of verapamil. So rifampicin. So those drugs, I would say tuberculosis patients, we are taking rifampicin as well as verapamil side by side. We have to, I would say, be cautious about this. Okay. So this was all about the absorption distribution. So, and metabolism, A, D, M. Now we will go towards the excretion, E, renal excretion, active tubular excretion. It occurs in the proximal tubule, a portion of the renal tubules. The drug combines with a specific protein to pass through the proximal tubules. when a drug has a competitive reactivity to the protein that is responsible for active transport of another drug, this will reduce such a drug excretion, increasing its own concentration, hence its toxic. Suppose we have probenecid, so it decreases the tubular secretion of the methotrexate. So methotrexate concentration is increased. So we give the methotrexate as a high dose leucovorin in the ALL patients. So when the methotrexate toxicity, we have to titrate and we have to give the leucovorin. Once we give the leucovorin, this concentration will be more, and this concentration will have so many deleterious effects on the body. So this is very important to note down. Same is the case with the vasodilator. Excretion and reabsorption of the drugs occur in the tubules by passing diffusion, which is regulated by concentration of liquid solid. So ionized drugs are reabsorbed lower than non-ionized drugs. Suppose we have the sodium bicarbonate, it increases the lithium clearance and decreases its action. So once we give the sodium bicarbonate, the lithium is not excreted more, so lithium concentration in the body is less. So at the same time, we have to monitor the lithium concentration, and you know the lithium therapeutic range is 0.5 to 1.2. Once it goes less than 0.5, so there is a manic depressive psychosis again. So when antacid is given, the increases salicylate clearance and decreases its action. So when we give the antacids, it is salicylate clearance and decreases action. So its action is decreased. So because we have this is the antacid, we give antacid the salicylate, its excretion is enhanced at the excretion level. Now the pharmacodynamic interaction. It means alteration of the drug action without change in its serum concentration by pharmacodynamic factors. Suppose we give the propranolol and verapamil, there is synergistic or additive effect. These two drugs are mixed, they have a synergistic effect. Now synergistic means 1 plus 1 is 2, but 1 plus 1 is 3. So on the other hand, additive means 1 plus 1, 2. We give the two drugs, this action 1, this action 1, and the two drugs have the two actions. But when we give the two drugs, it is, action is, I would say, more than 2. So this is synergistic. So potentiation means when one drug is given with another drug and the total response is 2, but another one drug will not affect. So antagonism means when we give the two drugs and we get the response less than 1, that is the less than 0.5. So when there is antagonistic response. So we have a synergistic response, we have the additive response, we have potentiating response, we have antagonistic response. Effect of the receptor site as anti-adrenergic and anticholinergic. These are the antagonistic. These are the antagonistic responses. When we give the two drugs which are in the anti-adrenergic and anticholinergic response. Now we have the risk factors. High risk drugs. There are drugs which are very high risky. These are the drugs that show a narrow therapeutic index. That is corticosteroids, rifampicin, oral contraceptives, quinidine, and lidocaine. These drugs you have to take into consideration while prescribing. So these are the high-risk drugs. Now high-risk patients, high-risk drugs, we have also high-risk patients. Like there are the groups of the patients that should be treated with caution due to the specific health condition. That is the pregnant woman, malignant cases, diabetic patients, patients with the liver or the kidney disorders, asthmatic patients, and cardiac disorders. So these are the high-risk patients. We have to be vigilant when we prescribe the drugs in this kind of population. And now the onset of drug interaction. It may be second up to weeks. For example, in the case of the enzyme induction, it needs weeks for protein synthesis, while enzyme inhibition occurs rapidly. So I have already enumerated the two examples. The enzyme induction takes weeks together, and the inhibition it is rapid, I would say, drug interaction. The onset of the action of the drug may be affected by half-life of the drugs. That is, we have the cimetidine inhibits the metabolism of theophylline. So cimetidine, it is a, I would say, inhibitor inhibits the metabolism of the theophylline. So the theophylline concentration should be remain from 10 to 20 microgram per ml. When it is more 20, there will be tachycardia, there will be so many, I would say, side effects. So cimetidine has a long half-life, while theophylline has a short one. So the meaning means that when cimetidine is administered to a patient regime or a theophylline, interaction takes place in 1 day. So cimetidine, it will take in 1 day only. So because of the inhibition. Now, prevention of drug interaction, how we can prevent it? Monitoring therapy and making adjustments. So we have to make the adjustments, we have to individualize therapy, we have to individualize the MSA response. And monitoring blood levels of some drugs with narrow therapeutic, that is digoxin, anti-cancer agents. So these are the monitoring, we can monitor the concentration of the digoxin, which has a therapeutic range from 0.5 to 1.2 nanogram per DL. And anti-cancer drugs also, like I have told, methotrexate, and these we have to monitor. And monitoring some parameters that may help to characterize of the early events of the interaction of toxin, that is with warfarin administration. It is recommended to monitor the prothrombin time, or we have to say INR. So this INR is very important tool. This is a biomarker when we give the warfarin to detect any change in the drug activity. Increase the interest of the case reports, studies of report different possibilities of the drug interaction. So we have to go and we have to go to the wards, we have to see the case reports, we have to see the drug interactions, and we have to see the adverse drug reaction monitoring system, and that should be, we can prevent the drug interaction like this. Thank you very much. This was a class, and I am sure the next time I will give some problems, and this will be a very, I would say, good thing to cope up with things. Thank you very much.